call the City of Escalon Recreation Commission meeting of February 11th, 2026 at 6:35 PM to order. We will now say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will staff please do roll call?
Commissioner Bauer, Commissioner Silva, Chair Trejo,
Here.
Chair Hogan, Commissioner Hogan, here. Commissioner Showalter.
Here.
We will now move to the consent calendar. Our first agenda item is to approve the minutes from the Recreation Commission meeting of January 7th, 2026. Did everyone get a chance to read the corrections and read the minutes, and if they did, are there any corrections or recommended changes? Anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the Recreation Commission meeting from January 7th, 2026.
Second.
We got a first and a second. All those who approve say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion of approving the minutes for the Recreation Commission meeting of January 7th, 2026 is approved. We'll now move to staff communications. Agenda item 2, monthly recreation update, January 2026.
Do you want to go over? So thank you, Chair. I was giving you a minute to read it in case you haven't yet. For baseball and softball, registration has been complete and the season's proceeding with Little League. For basketball, we're through the season. I'll have a few more games left. And we've heard positive reviews about the refs and about the mid-season rule changes. Those have been taken pretty positively. So far, so good. And then there's really nothing of note with the classes at the Civic Center. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I just want to make a comment on the basketball. I did like that we made that rule change for the 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes. I feel with that, kids get plenty of time on the court. I mean, there's only a difference of 10 minutes. I don't feel anybody feels left out or feels like they could have been out there more. That's a lot of times into the game, it seems like the kids are exhausted, which is good, right? They're having a good time and having fun. But I do like that rule change of the 40 minutes. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Hearing
I was just going to give an updated comment that the enrollment for Little League went up to,
Oh, yes.
and the final number was 184 registered players.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
What was it?
184
184?
for you.
We will now move on to agenda item number 3, monthly communication log, January 2026.
Thank you, Chair. Each month, staff compile as many notes as we can about communications we receive from the public. We're not always successful in capturing everything. Sometimes someone talks to different staff, we get to write it down, but we do try our best to keep a communications log. And so here you'll find that communication log attached with the summary of the concern that was received and the action that was taken, and then any follow-up or future action that's needed. So for the last month, we had 4 communications logged. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, we will now move on to agenda item number 4, Hogan Park lawn repair update.
Thank you, Chair. So in the last meeting, we had a healthy discussion about how to rotate games, how to rotate fields, and try and figure out what we can do about maintaining the quality of the grass and maintaining the quality of the programming. And in that discussion, a number of questions came up that staff couldn't answer at that time. We didn't know the exact fertilizer mix and the exact tree that was being scheduled to be removed to provide more sun to the field. So we met with Justin, our public works superintendent, and we walked through a bunch of the questions, which he was very knowledgeable. And then he went back to his staff and did some research to get the rest of the questions answered. So we have a pretty comprehensive list here that walks through exactly how we maintain our grass and what the plan is. Now, besides just to provide the answers, this is also going to be very useful as we start prepping for our operations budget for next year. So this was a good exercise for us anyway, and we can get a lot of value out of this report, not just to discuss best practices for operations, but also then to start planning for the future of how do we start costing this out and make sure we're capturing this in our budget, operations budget. Again, we also discussed in our last meetings the pricing for adult soccer and adult softball. And so this information collected about how we do field maintenance is also going to help us establish the fees for those recreation services, because we'll have a much more precise and better idea of what it costs for us to maintain the field. So this was a very useful exercise, but it also provides a lot of information for you to discuss right now if you have any questions on it. I'll briefly try and summarize some of these. So it goes through the fertilizer that we use, the blend that's we used, and why we use it, when we use it. The soil amendment that's used, gypsum is used to break apart clay. So you might be familiar with it. It's also a residential use. A lot of people use it because it helps make soil more amenable to grass. For irrigation and watering, we have the schedules there of how often we water the grass and how often we thatch it. There's mowing practices that are included and what kind of mowing equipment is used, field rest and recovery. And then there's also the impact from trees. And we have a discussion there. We included some photos from the field so you could see which photos were being removed and trimmed. You can see this photo on the right in the section under trees. You can barely see it, but there is a lamp or a light that's right inside of or directly next to the tree. So because the tree is so tall, the branches wrap around the light, rendering the use of it pretty impractical. So that tree is the one that's going to be slated for removal so that we can have use of the light. It'll also have some benefit for the grass because you'll have more sunlight being able to penetrate that area and make its way to the grass. And then we also included some information on weed and pests, but we don't use have that much application for weeds and pests. We just try and keep application on the fields for broadleaf weeds. And that's about it. So if you have any questions or anything additional to add to this report, happy to hear it, but that concludes my report.
Well, definitely appreciate you following up with Justin and getting the information to share with us. Thank you. We'll now move to administrative matters. Agenda item 5, adoption of the 2026 T-ball, 8U baseball, and 8U softball rules.
Thank you, Chair. So each season, there's a formality to adopt the rules. There's slight changes based on input from adults and participants in the program, from commissioners, from staff. At the end of every season, staff conducts a survey. That's where we get the input from. And so this here is the set of rules for the 2026 year for T-ball, 8U baseball, and 8U softball. As you know, the ages and divisions above that are now with Little League, and so they'll use Little League rules. And so we have the rules here that are available for the divisions that the city operates currently. So if you have any questions on them, happy to go through them. We can walk through this page by page if you'd like. I don't think that there were any, Yvette, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that there were any changes from last year.
We did move from a Babe Ruth style rule book to a Little League rule book to
Oh, that's right.
to follow the same format that the older divisions are following. There aren't many changes. Most of the 8U and T-ball rules have stayed the same. The rules have just been formatted a little bit. They've been formatted to be more user-friendlier for new coaches or parents to be able to understand them easy.
That was a good idea to get that alignment. Makes it easier as you move up to Little League that better understand the rules. Thank you for doing that.
The rules were substantially similar, though, so there wasn't
Yes.
much disagreement on how to conduct the rules for these divisions.
Yeah. Even though maybe little changes, those little changes, they make a big difference kind of in the scheme of things, and also looking at you see that there's a partnership there that you don't have with Little League, that you're not really in your own silos. So at least represents that, if nothing else.
One of the things that we did, we added to these new rules are just defining the age groups, how many players per team, just so that the program stays consistent throughout the years.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Would anybody like to make a motion to adopt or not adopt the rules?
Playing time, is there any suggestion on how? Because I know for the older divisions, the equal playing time is super specific. Do we leave it broad just so everyone can kind of define that on their own? Because I know at this age group, some kids are like, I don't want to go out there,
There should be, bear with me.
The no strikes would definitely be a change for 8U.
Yeah.
Currently, they do strike out.
I think for T-ball, because it's such a touch and go age, I don't think there is a specific rule that everyone has to play. That everyone has a mandatory equal playing time, but Oh, 8U.
My bad, I'm sorry, I should have led with that. I'm an 8U in the boys, it's the no strikeout was only 2 questions, that they don't have strikeouts, and then the equal playing time. I just didn't know if we have it in there, if we have to be specific what that looks like, or is it intentionally open-ended, which is also fine. So that a coach can define what that kind of looks like.
I don't think that there was there it is, a substitutions and playing time. It says the second and the last bullet point says equal playing time is expected for all players. It's really up to the
Just
coaches.
let them pick it. Okay,
Yeah.
so leave it open-ended.
Yeah, I mean, we would hope that coaches are fair, right, and play everyone equally. Again, I think at this age, they're still pretty young, they're still learning, so some kids might not want that equal playing time.
Fair. I was just curious. The no outs thing, I feel like that's a hard transition.
Yeah,
Just because currently both 8U softball and baseball are pretty, at least in my experience, we do outs and every.
reading what the old rules said. Yeah, the old Babe Ruth rules didn't have the no strikeout rule. Little League did. But
Those have to
again,
educate
it's up to you, it's up to the commission. Changes can be made if,
What are your guys' thoughts? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm good either way. If we keep it the way it is or we change it tonight, it would just be a motion to adopt the rules with this change to, rule number 10, but I'm good either way. Change it or keep it, it's up
If
to
we
you.
were to transition to Little League with 8U at some point, then we would be required to adopt their practices. If we play other like intra-league play, you would
Yeah.
then do no strikeouts for that game. It's just very different than what we're currently doing. That's all I'm trying to point out.
Am I missing it?
I'm sorry, 8U baseball division and go batting. Oh, no, wait. Where is it? No drop.
Because down outs and instruction, it says 3 outs or 5 runs.
Where did I read it wrong? I swear there was a part that said no outs.
maybe T-ball.
T-ball maybe.
Yeah, T-ball has no outs.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to waste anyone's time.
Did I miss that?
I think I blended them. My bad.
Yeah, coach pitch format. If the ball is not put in play after 5 pitches, the batter is out. So there are,
Just kidding. Leave it as it is.
No strikeouts is in 4 to 6 T-ball.
Yeah, I mixed them up. I apologize. Thank you.
and then 8U softball and baseball are essentially the same.
Gotcha.
Same rules.
I think the 5 pitches is fair too. They're not used to.
It's also nice to have a limit, because in case there's something going on, let's say a kid keeps on missing it, you still want to get the pace of the game going, so 5 seems to be like kind of a good number.
I did want to point out the field dimensions for 8U. Again, this is 8U softball and baseball. If you notice, it says base pass 55 to 60 feet, and then it gives a range. It's not a set distance or dimension. The reason being is that our fields are they're not traditional fields. They're not the same sizes all the time. And that kind of gives us that flexibility to work with what we have.
No called strikes. They get 5 pitches regardless of whether it's a strike or not.
Oh, so they could have.
5 swings.
Okay.
Which is good to know because last year I think it was,
3, that's what I'm saying. My
3.
daughter got out multiple times after 3.
yeah, I think that was.
I like that. I still misunderstood it. He's correct, but I like that because we had a lot of outs where the girls would.
Like, this gives them, more opportunities to put the ball in play.
Yeah, love that. Makes it
Yeah,
fun.
and I think it'd be different if it was only like 8U or like 8U as in like 8-year-olds only, or even like 7 or 8-year-olds. I think it'd be fine to do like 3 strikes. But when you got like 5 and 6-year-olds in that Division 2,
Mhm.
you really need the 5 swings. And maybe in the future we get big enough where maybe you do separate out like 8-year-olds and you got the 7, 6-year-olds, and you can be a little more competitive with the 8-year-olds to help them be ready for the 10U. But there's a big difference with that 6 and 7, 8-year-olds, big age gaps. And so that 5 strikes, regardless of how many swings, works out for kind of a good blend for all 3 ages.
The only other one that'll be a learning curve is they have to attempt to swing at each pitch because that was something that we taught a lot of our teams, like don't swing it. Everyone used different terms. We're like, don't swing at junk,
Yeah.
And so they're learning what to swing at and not, but in this situation, they have to try and put it in play every time.
You're gonna hurt the coach's feelings of doing coach pitch and not swinging the bat.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for this. This is super robust. There's a lot to it. And I'll make a motion to approve the, do they have to be separate or can I do both?
I think you can do both, yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the T-ball and 8U, both baseball and softball rules.
I'll second that motion.
All right. We got a first and a second to approve T-ball and 8U softball and baseball rules. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those all opposed say nay. All right, hearing none, the motion passes. We'll now move to agenda item 6, review and discussion, 2026 flag football season survey, parents and coaches.
Thank you, Chair. So for this one, similar to the communications log, is at the end of every season, we survey parents and coaches. What can we do better? What did we do well? And so this summarizes those comments. I'd like to particularly highlight Yvette's really good job organizing the data. There's a very nice dashboard on the front that gives you some bearings without having to go through every single comment. And so what we found through the coach highlights is that we had 8 responses with a overall experience of 4.13 out of 5. So pretty good overall, not many major concerns. And then you're welcome to spend some time going through it. The comments are on the back, so you can see them. And then for the parent survey, we had 39 responses, which is, I feel like that's pretty good. And then you have an overall experience of 4.33 out of 5. So overall, really good ratings. Parents, coaches are enjoying these programs, and we look forward to continuing to provide excellent service to our local residents and participants.
Reading one of the comments, it's for question number 6. How would you rate the communication with the league? And then on that one, this is page 6 of 8. It goes all the way down to ID number 13. It says separate 12U and 14U age groups. I would just kind of just keep yes, we have it highlighted there. I would just kind of keep that in mind when we're looking at whether it's flag football next year, basketball, baseball, soccer. I think you start seeing where when we get to the point now where we get enough registrants where we can make maybe smaller divisions, I think it's kind of a recommendation from coaches and parents, but they want to see kind of smaller age groups. And especially like this one here, I'm assuming here 14U was 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. So that's definitely a challenge when you have that big age group. And you do have, 11, 12 years are probably athletic enough to do well in those divisions. But for those other kids, maybe under the spectrum of it, and maybe not as athletic or ready, it really gives them a difficulty to be able to participate in the games and be engaged. Because they either won't have a chance to really do anything if they get the ball in their hands, or they'll have a hard time whether it's playing defense or doing certain positions. But I would kind of look into that for just general sports. If there's ever opportunity to make small divisions, I think it'll make it more for once we're making rules be more specific to that age group. But I think more of a fair in terms of competition. I'm looking at that.
Yeah, this has been a recurring topic throughout the last 3 years that I've been here, and I'm sure even before then. The physical capabilities of an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old are apparent, right? Kids are much bigger. They've gone through, their changes and everything. And as we continue developing the program, we've been tracking enrollment so that we are able to create these separate divisions. The age group in the past years has been 13. The age limit has been 13. This year was expanded up to 14. And we're hoping that next year we get the same amount of enrollment so that we can start separating the divisions, just like we did with basketball this year. We separated the girls division, the soccer division, right? We started separating them as we get more enrollments and those 11, 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds start moving up. They keep coming back, then we're able to have enough enrollment so that we can create these different, these separate divisions by age group, and we can separate the 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. It's definitely been a pattern in the last 2 years that we've been following the same kids that are moving up in division. I am very hopeful that this upcoming year we're able to separate the 12-year-olds and the 11, 12, and then the 13 and 14-year-olds. I will point out that 13 and 14-year-old registration is touch and go. We're hoping that we can continue with the momentum of registration and maybe even explore upping the age group to 15. I mean, that's what we did for soccer. That's something that we can definitely explore. Kids have fun out there, but then we also have to keep in mind that separate divisions also mean more teams, right? Which means more field time, more referees, more games, and it can become a very, very busy Saturday. But I mean, that's not to say we can't figure it out, just like we're figuring out the schedule and the format for soccer.
Yeah.
Program.
No, that's great. And I think too, even when we get those older age groups, you could get a situation, right, where maybe you only have enough to make one team or two teams, and that's kind of the pickle you get yourself into. And I think it's okay, right? Because I think you got to keep the quality and also the safety part for the younger age groups kind of true. And if you only have one or two teams you can make, that gives opportunity, almost like you do with baseball, where now you make like an Escalon team and you go compete with other local areas or a separate league. Whether it's like baseball with Bell Passy you join or something else. But that's one of the things too, that big age group, right? Like the 11-year-olds from a 14-year-old, it's a big difference because you probably find more than half of the 11-year-olds haven't gone through puberty yet, but by 14, a lot of them have. And at that point, right now, you got these kids out there with mustaches, bigger than the coaches out there playing, and it's just because of safety issue.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that this year this coming year, we're gonna have much more enrollment in the older divisions because, of course, the players that played last year or the past seasons, they've gone. Their friends have their friends have found out about it, and now they're going to join. So I am hoping that we see an influx of teen registration this year, which I'm super excited for. And also, if I can point out, you mentioned traveling to other interleague play with other cities. that's something that, staff has explored. However, it's a bit difficult because other league seasons are different times than ours. So that kind of it throws a curveball, right? Not only that their ages are different than ours, so we would have to align ourselves with other local leagues. For example, for the girls flag football, I believe we're one of the only leagues in the area that has a flag football, the all girls flag football. I thought that, but now I just found out that Series has one. But we don't know. They go by different rules. They don't go by NFL rules. So that's definitely an option. It would just require a bit, of tweaking and aligning with other cities.
And then I see a couple comments from both coaches and parents around the refs and consistency. What is the training for the refs prior to the season starting?
For the referees, so we have two sets of referees. We call one set junior referees. It's kind of a name that we started calling the high schoolers, right? Instead of calling them the high schoolers, we have junior referees. This is a program that's been going on for, since I started in the last 3 years. And as the program's been, as the rec program's been growing, so has the junior referee program. We're now trying to emphasize training these referees. Flag football was actually the first season where we had our professional contractor, Red Sports, actually train them for us. It was a pilot program, basically. We had a one-day in-class course that we had a referee instruct, and then they had some on-field training. We're hoping in the future there's a little bit more in-depth training, and we can even look at actual courses or licensing that we can provide the referees. But again, that's something that has to be explored. Now, the older referees, they come from the contractor. I will say that I personally did see some inconsistencies with the refereeing, but that was changed very quickly as soon as we reached out to the referee coordinator. So while the inconsistencies in refereeing are noted and it's apparent by the surveys, it's something that the contractor is willing to work with us and align all referees, with our rules.
And I kind of wonder if maybe, whether it's the coordinator or us, I wonder if we need to make like clip notes for rules for them. Part of the problem they have is that they referee from multiple different leagues, and each league has their own little tweak of rules. And so I think it's hard for them to keep it all straight. Like, all right, Modesto does this, Escalon does that. And I think they just kind of have trouble with it.
Yeah.
So I almost kind of wonder if some of these unique rules that we have trouble with, if we had to make a list for them and be like, hey, here's just like a quick cheat sheet. Because maybe 90% of the rules is all the same, but there's little ones that might be different, or the ones that are struggling with. One that we need to keep like a little cheat sheet for them so they can just reference it.
And that's something that's being explored. We have this season for basketball, we actually have a laminated copy of the rule books for every court. So if the referees need to look at them, they, staff pulls them out. We do have planned that we're going to do little pocket-sized cards with, with penalties and, for the referees to understand. Because you're right, each league has their own rules, and I can imagine it's hard to keep track of them.
Yeah. Plus, too, some of the rules change year to year too. So you got that on top of that.
It's a competing priority. I just mentally noted where it's like, don't go past this state, but also have more games. So I could see where can be confusing kind of feedback.
Yeah, this program is a little bit tricky because it's during school, it's right before the holidays, in between all the holidays, right? And it's sandwiched in between soccer, which is a huge sport, and the holidays, right? So it's been some trial and error figuring out where it fits best. Just have to keep trying different things.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, thank you, staff, for going over the survey, and definitely appreciate you guys taking the survey. Sometimes you kind of get these different perspectives. Thank you. Going to agenda item 7, establish Recreation Commission coordinator roles and select the communications and outreach coordinator.
Thank you, Chair. For this item, it's a slight cleanup. We didn't have the resolution in its final form for you all last meeting. It was in, it needed some cleanup. It was just kind of like a template resolution, which then led the motion to be read into the record incorrectly. So that was our fault. And so this is really just a cleanup item. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution of the Recreation Commission of the City of Escalon establishing a framework for commissioner implementation roles in recreation programs and activities. So if you're still keen on adopting this, that would be the motion to take. And that concludes my report.
Any of the commissioners want to make a motion to establish coordinator roles and appoint a commissioner in outreach? Or want to have more discussion?
I can make a motion. So I'll make a motion to adopt the, I'll make a motion to adopt and establish the coordinator roles and appoint a communications and outreach social media coordinator under its authority.
We got a first and a second to establish a motion to establish a coordinator roles and appoint a communication and outreach social media coordinator. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, hearing none, the motion passes. Then with that motion approved, do we need to, can we make a motion to select somebody?
You don't have to because you did that last meeting.
Okay.
It was really just that first step was read into the record as a motion of the city council. So just for posterity, making sure it was done correct, we just felt might as well just bring it back, have it read into the record correctly, and that'll be it.
Okay, well, thank you. With that, we'll move on to matters presented from the audience. At this time, the public may address the Recreation Commission on any non-agendized items that's within the authority of the commission. Seeing none from the audience, we will move on to Commissioner Communications. We'll start with Commissioner Showalter.
Yes, just to give some perspective on the basketball season so far, it's been really amazing having the El Portal courts to practice on. So first week it was not busy, and then last week it was packed. So really good feedback from the parents and from the coaches that I've talked to of having access to facilities. So bravo to the city for making that happen.
Commissioner Hogan.
Just an update on the communications and social media and outreach. Yvette and I have met to discuss and are working on some of the framework that is required to kind of guide the role, especially once, the turnover happens in the commissioner roles. And so just kind of having a standard framework to know what to post, what not to post, things that would be appropriate and not, and so on. And so I think we kind of have an agreed upon direction it would go. So more like flyers, event updates, enrollment updates, things like that, like enrollment registration open for this, announcing a recreation committee meeting, but not necessarily going into the nitty gritty of what's on an agenda item, for example. It wouldn't be like a comment space for that. So yes, I feel we have a good handle on that. And then just an update for Little League. As I mentioned, we have 104 or 84 rather registrants. We're very excited. Opening day will be the same as the city, so March 7th, and we will be progressing with the season. Our interleague play will be with District 67, and we're working on scheduling those games. And we're just really excited for a fruitful season and playing interleague.
Thank you. I should first want to just echo what Matt was saying. I think it was really great to have those ability to be out there in the basketball courts for Upper Tell. Part of I think when we do these kind of rec teams and seasons, it's sometimes you're right. You win games, you lose games, but you win and lose as a team. And sometimes when you also have practices, you're practicing together as a team, and that kind of brings us kind of like this the difference between just going out there and not really knowing each other versus really being a team and having those practices. I really felt the connections and also the just again that team atmosphere that you're able to develop versus when we don't have those facilities. You just go to the games and you leave and that's it. And there's not really like this bond that you create. It's not the same. So I really think it made a big difference in that because that's a big part of it. It's not just about the sport. I feel like a lot of parents, if not half of the parents, go out there for the social aspect of it, where you want to socialize with other kids. Have a scenario where there's a coach and you're here to listen to the coach. You have practices, games to meet, and also kind of the fun aspect of it too. But there's kind of that social part that a lot of times parents sign up for, which was an important part of it as well. And that's really the great thing about recreation, especially with we look at the elementary schools, how they're all kind of broken up into different schools: Collegeville, Van Allen, Farmington, Collegeville, and Escalon. It's when you have these recreation sports, it really brings the whole community together. So it's a lot of that. But part of that, you need the practices to kind of have that build up to it. So I know we only had that lease or at least that agreement for maybe another 2 years. I think we have with them. But if there's plans in the future we could have to do also other scenarios, it'd be really great. Because even on one of the days, I think their thing was like Fridays. And even though it was a Friday thing, some people want to be there, but there's coaches there and teams out there on Fridays, and they're having a good time. And that's kind of, I think, the healthy aspect of doing sports is just being outside. And then I just want to also again say thank you to Commissioner Hogan with the Little League. That's really, I know we kind of struggled with that the last couple of years. Like, how do we do it? What direction do we go? And I think what Commissioner Hogan brought to us and what we're doing is really what the town needed. So I think we were fortunate, with Commissioner Hogan putting that together for us and taking that first step, because that's always the scary part, right? Is taking that risk. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is the timing going to work? Not. I think the effort, the energy, and the time really showed how it's been successful. So I think there's a big kudos and salutes for her on that. But with that, that's it. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting on February. We'll adjourn the City of Escalon Recreation Commission meeting of February 11th at 7:18 p.m.